you are, yet another time, another moment that we are meeting on this show. As usual, this show brings you so much discussions, insights, and even analysis on matters politics of this country. As our tradition is, we normally look at political happenings in the week and actually what they made sense about, what they made no sense about, but then look at generally just what politics has been in this country this week. Ideally, it was a week that we witnessed Deputy President William Ruto take his first major tour of the Nyanza region, a place considered not so friendly to his political policies and political angling. Now, again, this very week, Raila Odinga, who was in Ukambani area, he's been traversing that area of late, and we want to see just what it is that he's cooking in these political meetings. However, there is also the big one, the Jubilee NDC, that has never been called since Uhuru took power for the second time. And again, most Jubilee stalwarts cry of all that Uhuru Kenyatta did not deliberately call these meetings to ensure that the party did not disintegrate. Very interesting times ahead. On the 30th of November, make a date. We'll be at the Kasarani Gymnasium, bringing you one-on-one what will be happening in the Jubilee House. Yes, I will have these discussions with my pundits here. On my right is a gentleman you all know. On my left again, a gentleman you all know. But for the purposes of just mentions of name, it's important that you just mention your name. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, viewers. My name is Kennedy Otieno Osotua. A man from Homa Bay.
A man from Homa Bay. Okay, good to know. Yes.
Thank you, Nick, and good evening, viewers. Gitonga Watanga from Starehe, Nairobi, and Mount Kenya region, Nyeri.
Mount Kenya region, Nyeri.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice guys are trying to climb Mount Kenya. I heard a guy is telling Raila that climbing Mount Kenya is not something you can do in just months. You've got to be climbing year after year until you get to the peak of it. I don't know whether Raila Odinga is getting headways. Is he even making progress in his climb of the mountain?
Of course, climbing the mountain, if you are climbing with bare feet, it's a bit difficult. But when you have the tinker, then it's not that difficult.
So tinker will always scale.
Yeah, tinker will scale the mountain easily. And honestly, there is actually a lot of radical shift towards in the political in our area, and there is so much support now as compared to before for Raila Odinga, and it is now common in fact now it is tending to about 30-40%. In the discussions nowadays in our area. It is now the discussion going on is whether you are a supporter of Ruto or you are a supporter of Raila. Before there was nothing like that. Raila was not even mentionable, let alone discussing him now. But in all the political forums, political sittings, that is the discussion going on, and it is just starting. It is just starting to be honest. By the time in 6 months' time. By the time we get to the home stretch, I think the fortunes will have changed for the better for Raila Odinga.
Raila hasn't declared, is yet to declare officially that is in the race. We expect that to happen by sometimes in next month.
It's 9th.
It's 9th, huh? Now, before even 9th comes, you look at the situation and you say there's significant improvement of Raila actually becoming now a talking point of the Mount Kenya region. Now, what does this inform, therefore, in terms of his political base? Is he? Do you think it would be genuine this time around, because it is said that it's so difficult for the people of Mount Kenya to trust an individual who is not theirs and vote for them?
I think it is not true that they can't trust somebody who is not one of theirs. The thing is, it's only that all the time before we have had the area has always had a candidate, but this time around we don't have one. And what is actually coming out is that really our people, also in the Mount Kenya region, we don't really have a problem with Raila Odinga. The problem appears to have been with the leaders. The leaders who are the ones who are actually inciting or perpetuating the hatred against Raila Odinga. Because generally the way he's been received, the way the people are talking about him, they are all praises on about him, and very few. In fact, it's not like the same people. You start wondering what has really changed.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what has changed is that now the general leadership is it's not really against Raila, and it has definitely shaped the opinion amongst the people of the region.
Well, now, Mr. Ken Osutwa, let me bring you into this, having also been an electoral expert with the IBC and things like that. Now, William Ruto came in, and he was in your county just a few days ago in Homa Bay, where it was reported and we all witnessed a very jubilant, receptive crowd that he met. We also seeing, like Gitonga is saying, a shift of things, and that now the local community, who are perceived to always be very hostile to William Ruto, would be angling to vote for him.
Yes, Nick. I'll maybe start from where Gitonga left. That just as Mount Kenya, when you need to climb the mountain, you need those who have been there before to tell you the routes, to tell you where to go and what needs to be done. The paradigm shift that we are now seeing in Mount Kenya region comes from the leadership of Mount Kenya. Remember, the late John Muchuki told the people that when you want to talk to the Mount Kenya people, you come through the leadership. There was a leader that was appointed from the Mount Kenya region, and then was Uhuru Kenyatta. So there are tilted signs that are showing them that this is how to climb the mountain, and they have been able to climb it. Back to the question of Dr. William Ruto, who happens to be the to be the DP of Kenya. Nyanza region has always received leaders. Remember the last ceremony that happened in Kisumu, Ruto was received very much in Kondele, and no one threw any single stone to him. And so as to speak, anytime, whenever he's in Luoland, he has always been received. Then consider him one of their own. Remember, receiving you through jubilation and through praises does not really matter much to the people. Leaders always give a directive. And more so, the last one that happened in Kondele, we are made to understand that it was the internal wrangles between those who were sharing a loot. When you make it public that I'm giving you 2.5 million in a population of about 800 people, then you know how much each is going to get. Then those are what brought the wrangles. Because if it was wrangles in Luo Nyanza, then it could have been in other counties, which is not only Kondele. We could have seen wrangles in Homa Bay County, we could have seen wrangles in Migori County, we could have seen wrangles in any other place that he went. But we didn't really see that. The other question that we also need to ask is, if it was not stage managed, then we need to know. If stones were thrown, did they only hit the glass? They didn't hit the vehicles. But if there are people in those vehicles and that vehicle is hit by a stone, then that stone must have had somebody. Which hospital? Do we have even one person who is hospitalized because it was hit by a stone? That one will prove that it was not state managed. Because there's no way you can hit a glass of a car, then that glass breaks, then we don't see any blood. So if it was not state managed, then we believe that any other area apart from the Cardinal area received Ruto very well. And hopefully, That is the kind of democracy we need in Kenya. We need leaders to go to places they are able, they are being received. That one we will count as a mature democracy in our society.
Good, much said, and well, as it happened, and we say it's a sign that our democracy is coming of age now. It's time that tolerance is now taking root. It's time that the freedom of speech that we so much fought for in the years back is beginning now to bear fruits, because now it's you go talk your thing. If they buy your idea, it's okay. If they don't buy, it's okay. But nobody looks at you or nobody pelts you with stones because they don't want what you're saying.
Yeah, and, ideally that is how it should be, and we really hope that is what is going to happen going forward. This thing of trying to sort out political differences in a physical manner is actually pretty much very primitive, and it should be arrested, immediately. We should not allow that one to happen at all, because people have an opportunity. If you really don't want to listen to someone, then you don't attend his meetings.
Don't have to go there.
You don't have to go there. Don't have to go there. And that one, it should be emphasized. Unfortunately, our forces are not very keen on controlling electoral violence, and because even in years back, we have not seen any people brought to court and charged with electoral violence. Yeah, and that does not help. It does not help in creating a conducive environment for campaigns. And this violence actually, it discourages a lot of people, so to speak, decent people, so to speak, in joining or in going for political seats, because it is actually very sometimes it's very dangerous. And that is also one reason why you find that our women do not really participate so much in elections, because of course they are
Violence.
Yes, they are more vulnerable. They are more vulnerable. And I remember a case sometimes in I think it's in 2013 or 20, of a woman contestant, a lady contestant in Meru, who was abducted, and she was really tortured. In fact, she had, I think, an input into her mouth, I think feces or something, that. And but unfortunately, nobody was arrested for that crime. So it is a high time as well that our police force, our security agents, they took charge. They took charge, especially going into the campaign period.
Yes, Ken, now let's look now at the dynamics of politics here. Now, it seems it's a two-horse race, and the only people who are really traversing this country for votes or for any political reason remains Raila and William Ruto. Ruto has done nearly 130-something rallies in the last few months, and it's crazy. Where do you get this amount of resources? Where do you get this energy? How do you do it? I mean, elections are still 9 months away. So if you do 130 rallies times 9, it's a crazy amount of meetings we shall have done. But don't forget again, it comes with resources. Just, does it also talk about how where our resources for campaigns should be regularized?
Yes, it should. IEBC gave out a timetable and a table on what amount people ought to have used. Parliament squashed it. The reason why no one will get interested on where is because much of what we use in campaigns are corrupt money. I mean corrupt money because any money that you are not able to really trace the source or know the clear source and how to use it will automatically come to corrupt. If you go to a rally and you say that I've given you 2 million, the source of that 2 million and how to use it needs to be looked at. How would I implement the use of 2 million to a border. How would I implement the use of 10 million to maybe a project that is found in the area? Because even the government projects, you don't just go there and dish out the money. There must have been a plan on how it's supposed to be used. And that is why the only way out for corrupt individuals to clean their money is through politics. You will see much of those who have kept much of their loot during this 5-year period, bring them forth during the campaigns so that they are able to clean them and use them. Remember, the government has tried even to change the 1,000 note into a new generation and all that. But still, the brighter Kenyans and corrupt Kenyans still managed to clean that money. So that money is still hanging somewhere in the system. So it is a clean line of corrupt individuals who are out to clean whatever they have gained for a period of time. Remember, when we are talking about corruption, we haven't talking about direct corporate line corruption. You saw the changes that are being made in Kenya Meat Commission, that are being made in Kenya Power. Those changes are being made because there were porous routes through which the public ethics and finances, the public finances would always privilege to the corrupt deals so that they fund the political campaigns. Because this is somebody who has made money. That's why he's able to make those rallies. He doesn't feel it. He has nowhere to go to the bank. Tell me today, Nick, where would you go and get 10 million cash? We are all restricted on the amount withdraw. But this person has cash, is able to move. What does it tell you? It tells you that among the bodies, the government bodies that we have, there are still porous routes. That is why you are hearing the Nairobi County through LMS are able to really make very big margin in terms of making the machineries and implements when we brought in the army. But before then, all machineries were dying. Look at the number of hospitals that have been built in the slums.
They're 24 in number.
They are 24 in number. Where has this money been? And then we are all crying that. So meaning there are still a lot of privileges through corruption that money gets its way to the members of the public. And still more is yet to come, Nick.
Still more money is yet to
more money is yet to go to the public.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Gitonga, as a politician, sorry, I believe there's always some sense in having limits. The kind of money we are witnessing going into campaigns right now, it's mind-boggling. An individual cannot be spending such amount of money in campaigns that they're not even declared yet. What therefore does it mean? Because this money gets into the populations and it now distorts facts. People don't even go vote for facts and manifestos. People vote for the millions that are given out. So exactly, how would this be really handled? Because the IBC route was, like he says, was trashed by Parliament. But we are set for a big expenditure into billions of shillings, while we have a lot of government projects that are now on their knees. Some are crippled, some can't even take off. Where is this money coming from?
Of course, Ken said here, this money definitely is coming from corrupt practices, both in the public and the corporate sector, but largely from the public sector. And about the control of financing in the campaigns, I don't think, I doubt whether, even if the limits were put, there was any way that IBC was going to enforce it. I don't think they would have the capacity to enforce campaign spending. So I would think, in my view, I think it would be easier, the easiest way is to control the corruption, to stop the corruption in the first place. So if people don't have, if people are not engaging in corrupt practices, definitely they will not have that much money to spend. Because like you said, the money being used by, say, by the deputy president it's definitely not money that he can really say is coming from his businesses or his earnings, because no such business can produce that kind of money. So it will be easier to control the corruption part, so that money is not available in the first place to go and do the campaigns. Instead of trying to stop people from spending money that they have already stolen. So because if you cannot stop them from stealing, how are you able to audit their spending? Really?
Not possible.
It's not possible. So the root cause, the primary place to look at is to stop the stealing. But unfortunately, there is no political will. There's no political will to stop the corruption. Remember that at the time that I took a proposal to Parliament, a petition. Parliament,
I remember.
a petition Parliament on the registration of properties. And that is something that could have really arrested a lot of corruption in this country. Because our request was that for any property that one is buying or registering, one has to do it through a commercial bank, and the paying account is would be the registered owner of that property.
Yeah.
So if you were to simply do that, now what it means is that people will not be able now to invest corrupt money into properties, into vehicles, into land, into buildings, and so the appetite of stealing will not be there. Because if you have 30 million, say the government, you have 30 million, you have to account for it. How do you prove that you got this money? If you stole the 30 million from the county, how do you prove? Where do you take the money? Because you cannot buy property in your name or in a phantom company. But so if saying, or even if the name was to pass, that limits were to be passed by by Parliament for the ABC to go, it is wishful thinking. ABC was not going to do anything about it. They don't have that capacity for sure.
Just recently, the deputy president at one function, it went viral on social media, where he just dismissed Irongo Kangata, the senator of Muranga, who brought 40,000 shillings contribution in a fundraiser that he was presiding over. Kamwambia, wewe ni governor gani unakuja na 40,000, ndio utafuta 1,100 ulete. I mean, this campaign is losing its meaning and is becoming now, a money competition. Because now, if somebody has 40,000 brings as a contribution, raw safi, and then you tell this guy, you want to be a governor and you still bring here 40,000, it means you're not serious. Just what information are we sending out? And remember, these are hustlers.
The deputy president is a student of Moi. And he's doing things the same way that Moi used to do. And Moi was all over doing Harabes, and of course, the most, the bigger the politician you are, you have to contribute so much money. And in fact, actually, the person who has made this campaign start early it's him. He has been campaigning the last 4 years, so the rest were seen not to be doing anything. So for them to be not to be left out, they had to start the campaigns early. But started the campaigns 1 year to the elections. Oh my, that one is it is gonna really wear them out. Let alone even financially, but even
physically, psychologically.
It is a lot of work. If you are engaged in campaigns, even campaigning for 1 week, really,
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's not for the faint-hearted. So in fact, I'm very impressed by Jacom. That that is able to do all those rallies, is able to do rally after rally, it is actually very fit. In fact, sometimes when I go with him, after maybe one meeting, the following day I'm so knackered, I'm so tired.
But he keeps going.
The following day, when I'm lying in bed so tired, I hear now is the other side is probably this tunnel.
That energy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
What do you think about that? I mean, is it gonna be just a money campaign? Because what we are seeing going out here now is going to be a billion. It's a billion campaign, billion shilling campaign that we are set to see here.
Nick, we expect more because this was like a prepared, piped channel that somebody had prepared for a number of years. So he knew what he wanted, he has calculated, and he knows. The only thing that is now worrying him is the new emergents that are coming in and leaders now coming together to disown him. If we could have let him go the way he started, he could have been very far. But still, he has the money, he has the energy, he has everything else. Still, it goes back to the corrupt way. If you have the cash with you, then you have to spend it. And much of it, my worry is very simple. That areas that we say that this money is doing much, we really don't see the end product of it. We were just chatting with my friend outside here when he told you that when we are talking about empowering the border borders, while the border borders are all over and you get young people lying on border tops, but you still want to buy them more border borders. He even made a joke again with Mama Mboga, that bogas are everywhere. Wherever you go, you'll always find boga. So it means boga is not lacking. So whatever you need to change could be the infrastructure. But much of it, our public are duped. It could be that this money is not even reaching the normal Mwananchi the way we are talking about it. If it is true that wheelbarrows were to be given, how many people have wheelbarrows 6 months down the line?
Well, it is getting to wheelbarrows and it's getting to other things. It's money. It's money talks. And this campaign seems to be one of the most moneyed. And I believe by the time these campaigns are over, by 9th of August next year, it will be a crazy amount of money that shall have been spent in these campaigns. I wonder if this country is ready for something like this, because when we make our politics a money thing, then it loses its all billing and purpose, because then it would be for the rich, number one. Number two, it would be disadvantageous for us as the voters, and ultimately we won't get services and governance that we gravely want to get from these leaders. We are going for this break. When we come back, remember Uhuru Kenyatta and Jubilee are having a very interesting time. NDC coming on the 30th of this month. It's going to be a life example and life lesson for most of us who are watching keenly to see just what is in the cards that Jubilee wants to play out here, because the rebels have been put on notice. It's time to pack and go. Therefore what? When you come back, these two gentlemen will delve into this information and give us more as it is. Don't go away. I'm Nico Kelo. It's the Cardinal Talk Show. Welcome, viewer. We took a short break just for some commercials. And remember, it's the Cardinal Talk Show. Today, we delve so much into matters that are making headlines or will make headlines in the coming weeks. However, it's been a very, very difficult time for us to understand just how much money will be used by the time we get to 9th of August next year. In one visit alone, in 3 days, the Deputy President seems to have spent nearly 10 million in his Nyanza tour. In one region, Mr. Gitonga Wadanga, 10 million. Tomorrow again, the other day, in a week, you spend a colossal amount of nearly 50 million. And it's weekly, week in, week out.
Yeah, I think 10 million, I think it's
it's conservative.
Yeah. Because this guy who is giving out donations of 2 million, at a certain 2 million, 1 million, 3 million. So it is definitely spending a colossal amount of money. But that also explains probably where our money has been going, Kimoarel and Aro. That is probably
well, that's for another day.
Yes.
We can't say that in certainty because we don't have facts. Mr. Itongo, you don't have facts for that, so you cannot bring it in this discussion to say that Aurora and Kimorel money went that direction.
And support Mr. Gitonga because
no, you can't say which facts? No facts. Of course, I'm not giving any verdict, so we leave it at that. We don't get to that because it might bring us to other things that we are not going to discuss right now. Even Raila Odinga spends money.
With Raila Odinga, the only money he actually spends is only probably for the logistics. He does not.
Which is a huge amount of money.
Yeah, it's because it's still a lot of money, but it's not as much as we compare. You see now the Kina DP, they give out. He actually literally gives out money. But for Raila Odinga's meetings, nobody is facilitated as per se. You know, most
kwa hivyo hakuna kitu
huko
hapo ni kukauka tu.
No, yeah, because people are not facilitated. People are not facilitated.
You work with Raila Odinga.
Yes.
Tell us, does he give you guys money? I mean, how do you go about it?
How? Where? No, he doesn't. Nobody gives nobody, unless he gives people who are close to him. You know, without.
You are close to him.
Well, you know, those in his inner circles, but the rest, most of us, the most people that I know, we operate on with our own money. No, nothing. There's not even. You remember even like the last elections, 2017. You know, ODM for NASA did not even produce merchandise. There were no T-shirts. Let alone giving people money. There were no T-shirts. We got only very few. So the Raila campaign spent so little money in comparison. Say in comparison with the others.
You seem to be nodding in appreciation of that. I don't know why, but you can't tell me Raila makes like 4, 6, 7 meetings in a day, and you say that is not spending money.
I think Mr. Gitonga has just confirmed because Mr. Gitonga has been running with the Jacom for a while now. And what happens at Jacom's level is that people come, people volunteer. Rallies, people go because they get attracted to that rally. You will realize that people like Gitonga, there are those who have given out their choppers, there are those who have given out their vehicles, there are those who have been given branded vehicles.
The same would be happening to William Ruto. He also has people he has people who love him.
Very good. If he has people who love him, then the same people give him a lot of cash. Yeah, and that's why we are saying the donations that we see in terms of cash and in terms of facilitation, it is centralized on him, and that is why you're just giving us about Kangata. When Kangata gave out 70,000, 40,000, that was not money to him. Why? He believes that it should be more. Because if I'm giving out a donation, how do you judge me again? Because I've given you 40. I've never heard Raila Odinga telling somebody who has given him 500 shillings that this is too less, you are not supposed to be this. Yeah, we always give because that is what we have. But on the other end, it is different. Yeah, it must come from him. And that is why he even made a statement, it is on media, that in case you don't have, come I give you. Did you get that?
Yeah, he said in that very fashion. Na kama una kuja nipatie tutaongea.
Meaning, these things come from him. It is not from the members of the public. He has acquired, he's giving them out. And that's why we are able to calculate and see. You only talk about 10 million, my brother. Getting a chopper from Nairobi to Kisumu. Let's talk about the commercial rate. Remember, we are talking about how much per hour? And how long did those choppers take? Whether his or not, how much are we talking about here? So 10 million, as Gitonga tells you, that is on the lowest side possible. In fact, the Nyanza, the true picture of the Nyanza could have been over 50 million.
In that single
visit. Yeah. It can even be 50 in a day. Because look at how much people are facilitated to go to those meetings. So when we are talking about finances, the muscle is there. The muscle is there. Why? We allowed the corruption. We allowed people to bring in on board. In fact, of the news, somebody even told me that whenever he was being given appointment, you also go with the 2 letters. One, that you don't write the date, but already you have a resignation, because if you don't bring, then You are given that to write the date. And maybe that is why, now that parastatals are being organized left and right, some people are really crying foul.
Well, it is politics and money. I don't know what good leaders without money would say about this. Yes, after 5 years, Kenyans will be again a disappointed lot because we went for money at the expense of ideals, ideologies, and good governance. So we have ourselves to blame. We want to switch this discussion a little bit and then look at the 30th of November, that is this month. There would be a very essential activity in the Jubilee House, a house that remains virtually a shell of its former self. It's a shell right now because I don't think Jubilee has even 50 MPs who are still loyal to it as it is. Ruto seems to have done what Raila did to Kanu and left with the majority of these guys. Now, this NDC will be a mere shell of what Jubilee has. But we were told in these press conferences that, it will be time now to expel all the renegades out of Jubilee. It will be out to expel even the deputy president out of Jubilee. Jubilee is readying itself to have a pre-election coalition agreement with ODM. Now, so interesting. For the first time in this world, I'm hearing of an arrangement where a ruling party is courting an opposition party to form a pre-election agreement. Yes, they are formed every day in life, but not in this arrangement where we want now to go into the next elections. Mr. Gitonga, just tell us, what are the details about this thing? You are an ODM insider, you are a life member of ODM, you are a Jacom's person, you've been there when it was very difficult and even now. Just what is it? You come from a Jubilee-dominated area.
Definitely this provides a very interesting scenario where, of course, the ruling party now is coming together with the opposition.
Formally.
Yes, and then the part of the ruling party also now goes to opposition. I also don't remember it happening anywhere else in the world, but in this case, we can say it's due to the breakup of Jubilee, and essentially now Jubilee now became party opposition and party government. But the 30th of December, definitely, that is of November, it will definitely be, it will actually be a turning point, not only for Jubilee, but I think also for the country, because whatever is going to happen at that Jubilee NDC is going to have a lot of ramifications in our political
discourse, actually.
Going forward. In my thinking is that they probably when they get rid of the renegades, including the DP, I think they will probably go ahead also remove him from the office of the deputy president.
Remove him how? I mean, it's interesting to how do you remove Ruto from being a deputy president? It's not possible.
It is. It's also
unless it's an impeachment
yes,
process.
that clause in the constitution known as impeachment, because it follows that. If he was sponsored to the office by the Jubilee Party, so when the party withdraws that sponsorship, then it means that he's also in contravention over. He's not legally in office because he's in contravention of the constitution, because he's supposed to be a member of
Jubilee Party.
Or a member of Jubilee Party. So in that case, those could be that could be a ground for impeachment. The question is, will they get the numbers? I think they can get the numbers.
Really, 2/3 majority.
I don't know whether does it require 2/3.
It is. It requires to impeach a president or a deputy president. It has to be 2/3.
I don't know. What I think is they must be knowing what they are doing.
You know what
They must be doing. Remember, there was this time they were removing people. They were changing the leadership of parliament, and they will say, no, you can't remove Akina Makomen. We don't have the now. We have the numbers. We have the numbers. We don't have the numbers, and it easily passed. So I think probably they must have looked at their numbers. If that is what they want to do, definitely they will get the numbers they want.
So if what you're saying is anything to go by, Deputy President William Ruto has to be getting ready to vacate. I mean, it will be a year at some time before the elections. If what you are saying at all becomes a reality, which I don't think, but then what scenario then does it portend when a whole deputy president is now stripped of his position in the party and eventually perhaps impeached, which I don't think is very possible? I mean, just what country are we going to be having getting into the elections? Mr. Sutwa, NDC, Jubilee, what do you gather that would happen? You're only speculating. Just what do you think?
30th of November 2021 is a turning point, just like 1964 between KANU and KADU. Just like between KANU, New KANU, and the LDP, you remember? So it is an event that I know the Kenyans are waiting for to really see how it will unfold. Pure and back to what Mr. Gitonga was talking about is that in case that the NDC of the Jubilee Party, remember Jubilee is a party, Jubilee is not a coalition. Because they failed candidates as a Jubilee party. Remember, what they did is that they dissolved all their parties and made it one party. So the new creation that will make after that will become a coalition, which is allowed by law. So meaning if they make a coalition and the ODM and the Jubilee becomes one, then now we'll be having a coalition partners working together, which is in law. Now, the other question that I think must linger in the mind of the legal scholars is whether the position of the deputy president
will remain tenable.
Yes, if he is not the deputy party leader of Jubilee, then he cannot become a deputy president. Because unless it was a coalition where that coalition partner and the coalition partner brings in, then at that point he will have lost. The numbers is about parliament to do. But at that point, that is removed. Remember the South African case. Once the party disowns you, then there's no way out. You come and join the government. It ends with you.
The Becky thing and, and the Zuma thing.
And the Zuma thing.
Yeah.
And hopefully, we hope that's what will happen here. The challenge that I think the deputy president will be able to face is that whether his house is in order to really count on the MPs, because what it will mean is that he will really know those who are truly with him. And remember, we are talking about conscience. The deputy president does not have a conscience to defect and leave the government. Why? He enjoys the fruits of Cardinal. He enjoys the fruits of the police. You just saw the other day how many policemen he has. He enjoys the government facilities. That's why even if there are chaos and everywhere, his conscience will never tell him to leave. So meaning he will still hang on. His hanging on has very many implications on those who are following him. You will see very many defectors from that day. Why? When you are now told that a house that has been guarded by a police officer because you are an MP in a Jubilee ticket, now you will not have it because you are going to position on a UDA. That's the time you will now see the truth. And the money that you are talking about will now work. In that either you are paid for the rest of your time in parliament, yes, because a calculation must be done here. No one will ever want to lose hunger here, my brother. So you will see people coming back, and you will see tones changing from that day. You will see my friend saying that I'm not able to do this, I'm now with this. Why? When you are eating, you are not supposed to open your mouth. Why? It is bad manners. So they have been eating.
No.
A very fundamental point here.
Yes.
That once you cease being the deputy party leader, you can no longer be the deputy president. The deputy president. If that is the interpretation of who interprets it that way, and after he is expelled from Jubilee, then the Gazette is he appoints another DP and they gazette him, and they gazette him. What recourse does the DP have? unless he just goes to court.
Yes.
Then he goes to court, then it drags through the process, it drags through the courts. In the meantime, we have another deputy president. For him to be approved in parliament, the new appointee, he only needs a simple majority.
Yeah.
So I think there is a way out. They can handle it.
In fact, but I think it can be handled out of parliament at Jubilee level without even going to parliament. We don't need two-thirds.
Okay, it's an interesting scenario here. Too bad time is catching up with us. An interesting scenario here. Now, Jubilee and ODM have a pre-election agreement. They now get to a coalition. Now, and the law, perhaps, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, perhaps the law allows that you can pick a coalition partner to be a deputy president. Because I don't think there's anywhere that the law says particularly that you must pick somebody from your own party. You could even have independents who are running.
I'm just explaining all the same. If the ODM and Jubilee forms a coalition partner and a document is deposited at the registrar of parties, then now it becomes a coalition.
Yes.
Just like NAC, just like this last one.
Just hold on. Now,
Yes.
therefore, does it mean therefore that Uhuru can pick somebody from the coalition partners?
Yes, so long as documents are deposited.
Remember in the first term of Uhuru, there was TNA and
URP.
Yes, there are coalition.
Yes.
Coalition partners.
And Ruto was the DP. So there are references to be made.
Yes. Yeah.
So it will not be surprising if he can appoint from across the board. He can appoint from ODM.
Yes.
When and if the DP
appoint a deputy president from ODM.
Yes, because
I mean, just what are you guys talking about?
Once these two parties form a coalition, that is a ruling coalition. I've given you an example of Kanu, the new Kanu. When Raila joined Moi, they formed a coalition.
Yes,
Raila became a minister. Kajwang became a minister. Ojode, who's my MP, then got assistant minister. We really enjoyed.
But that was a cooperation.
Yes, but at long last documents were made and documents were deposited with the registered political parties. So long as documents are made and approved by the National Delegates Conference, because what holds a party is the National Delegates Conference. Once there's a National Delegates Conference and they agree, Uhuru joined Kibaki. What happened? They all went to Kasarani and then they agreed. So long as there's National Delegates Conference agreed that this is the way we go, then no one in the constitution that will ever ban that party from making a coalition with the other partner.
Really interesting times ahead. So interesting. I mean, this politics is just not even begun yet.
Well, yeah, sure. You know, now
it will begin on 30th.
On 30th, yes. Now we are entering the home stretch.
The home stretch now.
Yes, that is when it really starts, and then I think from there, then things will start moving and taking shape. It will be taking shape because it is inevitable. It was inevitable because the way the DP has been behaving, I don't think it was going to last for long. And in any case, by the way, they are supposed to cross over 6 months before elections. So I think by February something.
February 9th is the date.
Yes.
You should mark that on your calendar.
Yes, February 9th. You know, I think even the MPs want to contest in another party. They have to cross over. Which I think they will. When they do, I think they automatically lose their parliamentary seats. That will have to be, that is something that...
Wow.
And the president has been very resilient.
Well, I don't know.
He has observed all that needed to be done.
Just let me end this program here because it's now bringing so much analysis. I mean, there's so much to be talked about in this. What would happen from 30th of November is just crazy to imagine. And it will inform for the scholars in future serious political ramifications and studies that will go down into this. I tell you, Kenya has always been a country of fasts. This is the only time I had Uhuru Kenyatta address a UN conference and insisting that his partnership, his handshake with Raila Odinga is a political study, a masterpiece that should be emulated by all conflicting areas of this world. I mean, Kenya keeps on channeling and churning out rather new ideas politically, which is not bad. I don't know what made your week, what actually captured your imagination over the week in less than a minute, because our time is up.
Definitely the story of the week was other than Japan's visit to Nyandarua. Now the other big story was about the Jubilee NDC. That is definitely something that really going to change the political.
It's a cracker.
So the political atmosphere in this country.
Well, again, what actually captured your imagination over the week?
Mostly the same thing, the Jubilee NDC, that will really change the political landscape of this country. So, and I think our students really need to learn from that date. And I just need to say that the resilience that has been there has taken us this far. Let's change and see how far it will go.
Well, it's time we are waiting with bated breath. We are hoping and believing that it will be a master stroke of a political study. It's going to be a case study of sorts. And I believe future scholars of politics, political science, would use this as a reference point. And I believe very many guys would do projects on this and into the future in their university studies. And that's great for Kenya to learn to know how politics can be done. And again, it's wonderful that you guys were around here. You were there. You guys were here. And I want to believe that in your own endeavors, I know you are political animals and you want to do politics each and every time. I wish all the best in your endeavors, wherever you are. Mr. Kitonga Wadhanga, asante sana. Mr. Ken Osutwa, thank you very much. To you, the viewer, asante sana. Let's meet again next week on Sunday, same time. It's been the Cardinal Talk Show, hosted by me, Nick Okello.